Hey everyone, it's Vicky, and today I am here to talk about my reading plans for February. Now, February of 2024 is a leap year, so we get an extra day in the month. So I don't know why I think that's going to somehow give me more time to read one extra day, but hopefully it will. Like I mentioned in my TBR for January, I'm trying to keep the TBR within a reasonable amount, so I have put 5 books on my TBR, but I do want to say that this TBR could change because I have a couple of books on hold at the library that I think are going to be coming through in February, and I'm going to probably want to read. They are new releases that I've put on hold, so just to let you know, I have these books on my TBR. I don't know if I'll get to them all or if there will be even more books. Hopefully more books, but anyway, I'm rambling. Let's just get into the TBR. So my first book for February is going to help me out with the Buzzword reading challenge, and February's buzzword is just happy words. Words that when you think of them or when you read them, they make you feel happy. And so I chose the word love, because I think for the most part, love is a happy word. And I'm going to be reading The Love Songs of W.E.B. Du Bois by Honorée Fannin Jeffers. And this one is a bit large. This one is really appealing to me because I feel like it's going to have a lot of coming of age elements. It deals with a young woman named Ailey Pearl Garfield who lives somewhere in the north of America, but her mother's family is from the deep south, and so she spends most of her time in the city, but then she spends summers in the deep south with her mother's family, and so she sort of sees two different Americas really. And her mother's family are relatives or descendants of slaves, and this book is about her sort of learning about her history and her heritage, because it's such a, I don't want to say melting pot, but it sort of is, because again, she has this experience of living in the northern part of the country and then also the southern part. She has relatives in here, and as she starts to dive deeper into her family's ancestry, she finds that she has indigenous ancestors, she has black ancestors, of course, and then also white ancestors. So she's sort of trying to put it all together and just kind of figure out her place in the world. And those kinds of stories are always enjoyable to me. I love books where people are, you know, finding out about their histories and determining who they are and how those histories affect them and all of that. So I feel like this is going to be a great book. I'm planning to listen to the audiobook because I've heard that the audio is just great because it has a lot of the like southern accent stuff going on, and you just really get into the characters that way. So I'm really looking forward to listening to this one in February. My next February read is going to be one I have on my Kindle, and it is called Cultish, The Language of Fanaticism by Amanda Montell. This is a nonfiction book about cults, but more specifically about how cults use language to gather followers, to get people drawn in to what they're about, how they use messaging and social media and all those sorts of things to sort of draw people in. And that just sounds really fascinating to me because I am interested in cults in general and how they operate. But also this sort of angle where it's looking at specifically the language is just really interesting to me. So I'm looking forward to checking it out. So the rest of my February TBR, and I didn't really realize this until I had the books in front of me and I thought, oh, these three sort of have something in common. And that is that these are authors that I have never tried, but have heard really good things about and I want to try. So the first one is actually the book that I chose from my book haul revisit that I just did, where I revisited a book haul from 2 years ago and had to pick a book from that haul that I haven't read yet. And I picked All the Missing Girls by Megan Miranda because she is a thriller author that I have seen everywhere and I want to try. And this one centers around a woman who 10 years in the past, her best friend went missing And she basically leaves town, doesn't come back, but then 10 years later, I believe her father is in poor health, and so she comes back to take care of him, and it sort of brings back all of that stuff that happened 10 years ago. And then another girl goes missing in a similar way that her best friend went missing 10 years ago. And so it sort of gets her, I don't know, wanting to investigate what happened, and all that. So it sounds pretty cool. Definitely something I'm in the mood for. So looking forward to this one. And then another author that I have been wanting to try, another sort of, I don't know if, I think she's technically a thriller author. I don't know if her books are more mystery, thriller, or maybe a mix. I have no idea because I've never read her before. But I have never read Rachel Hawkins. So I got her new release, The Heiress, from the library. And this one deals with a rich woman from North Carolina. She is this notorious sort of person in her town because when she was a child, she was kidnapped. And then, of course, brought home or found. And then throughout her life, she has had 4 husbands that have all died. And so she's very rich. She has this big, beautiful manor in the town. And then when she passes away, she leaves everything to her adopted son, Cameron, I think his name is, Camden, sorry. And he wants nothing to do with it. He, for whatever reason, doesn't want any of her money. He doesn't want to be involved with his family, and manages to sidestep it and moves out of the state and is living his life. And then 10 years after the heiress dies, his uncle dies. And so he has to go back with his wife, and they're staying in the big house, and they start to sort of ask all these questions about his adopted mom. First of all, why was he adopted in the first place? And then what really happened with that kidnapping when she was a kid, and what happened to all of her husbands? So just all this stuff centered around his adoptive mom comes up. And yeah, so it sounds like it's going to be, I think, mostly mystery, but I'm not sure. I guess I'll find out. But yeah, she's an author I have been wanting to try. And then the last author, I have heard so much hype about this author, and I've been on the fence about trying her. And I've decided that it's finally gonna happen. She's a romance writer, which you guys know, I don't read a lot of romance, barely ever. It's gotta be just the right synopsis and circumstances, and I gotta be in just the right mood. And I happen to be sort of in the mood for something like that right now because, like I've mentioned, if you guys watched my book haul revisit, I talked about how my reading right now, I'm not really wanting to read anything particularly heavy or, you know, something that I have to really like think about because of school, because I'm using a lot of brain space for school right now. And so a lot of the reading I'm doing for fun, I just want to like read more lighthearted sort of things. And so I'm in the mood basically to try this author and to read a romance book. So I'm going to try Emily Henry. I'm going to start with Book Lovers. I know she has quite a few, but this one appealed to me because it deals with books. The main character, the girl, is a literary agent, and she goes on some sort of vacation with her sister to have sort of a girls' trip, and she keeps running into this guy who she knows from the city, because I think they're both from New York City. He is an editor, and they've never really liked each other, but they keep running into each other on this vacation. And so I'm assuming that the more they run into each other, the more they get to know each other, the more they like each other, maybe fall in love and that sort of thing. So it seems like a nice read for, you know, what I'm looking for right now. And like I said, I've been wanting to try Emily Henry because I have heard so much about her. There's been so much hype around pretty much every book of hers that has come out since Beach Read, which was her, like, I think was her first book. So yeah, I wanna give her a try, so I'm going to this month. And that's it. Those are my reading plans for February. Like I said, they might change a little bit depending on my library holds, because I'm not sure what's gonna happen there. So yeah, let me know down below what you're planning to read in February, because I would love to know if you've read any of these books. I would love to know what you thought of them. Am I gonna like Emily Henry? Am I gonna like Rachel Hawkins? Am I gonna like Megan Miranda? We shall see. And I guess that's it. I hope you guys have a great month, and I will chat with you soon. Thank you so much for watching.